All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Land of the Lustrous, Episode 7. All right.
The Amethysts got shattered.
Yes.
Absolutely crushed. Yeah, Phos is okay.
It was a bit nuts.
But Phos wasn't able to help. Lord was upset.
And Adamant used some kind of high-level spell.
Yeah, just material components expended.
Poof. Just
gone.
Bye-bye, Lunarians. There was some really interesting stuff coming through Phos, specifically in the memory department last episode that they lightly touched upon. I'm hoping
just about as lightly as Adamant touch to the table and just
there was this description that Phos had of, well, I love Adamant, so I want to protect him. And it's like, wait, what? And then the whole humans word.
Just remembering the word humans.
Just like
and then later the table was not just fractured, it was actually just split in half and like separated. So
Adamant, you gotta learn to control your emotions, bruh. Like just kind of inner peace. Go back to your meditation and stuff.
Exactly.
All right, so y'all like excited to figure out what happens next. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, everyone, we're gonna start the episode in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now. Oh, we gotta see this all over again.
Yeah.
Ah! And poof.
Yeah.
That is awesome. About that.
Opening. Oh, okay.
And we're trying to repair the Amethyst twins.
Oh, the sounds in this show. Like, it's not just the visuals, but the sounds are so good.
Right? Wow.
Are they going to be different? Because, like, it seems like they've been repaired properly, but the way they're showing
we can never
them
know
up close. Right? Maybe just the experience kind of freaked them out.
Well, I would assume not too much. See, Phos is the one that's got the emotional kind of. Doesn't want to talk about it.
I mean, remembering that would be pretty rough.
Whoa.
Running to forget.
Yeah. Running is such a satisfying thing when you just like feel yourself like almost like flying.
Well, and if you left a light trail like GL-tron, I can imagine it would feel even better.
You mean just like Tron?
Well, yeah, but for any of you guys who played that game.
It's probably a mobile app by now.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Snow? Okay. Yeah. That was a late opening.
That was a very, like, Delayed opening, yeah.
One of the things I gotta say though that I really like about like how the show is fully 3D,
right,
is the backgrounds can just always be in motion and it's no problem because you don't have to do anything with it after you make the model, right? It's just you just have it go through the stuff to make it move, right?
Yep. And it's just how well you are at making it move believably.
Right, exactly.
In conjunction with everything else that's moving.
Yeah. And once you do that once or twice, like, you know, you probably don't need to do much work to, like, redo it or keep it going since it's all algorithms and stuff.
I'm not 100% sure about that.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I could be wrong, but
yeah,
it's certainly a lot more doable than, like, you know, drawing each individual thing with each individual bit of motion, you know.
So there were a couple things that people reminded us about through comments and stuff with the mods bringing it up was the twins. It's got more to do with like the type, the number thing. It's not like how many, you know, iterations there are or something like that. It's a reference to something on the scientific side of things.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Are we gonna get a Christmas episode?
I mean, what is going on?
Passion.
Okay. Oh, okay. So they're just gonna hibernate through the winter because they don't have the sun, basically.
Phos is so adorable,
right?
And a hair of the gem is sticking out.
Yeah.
A gem hair.
Ah.
Oh.
Ah. Makes sense. So they conserve energy.
Antarcticite. Oh, that's gorgeous.
That's so cool. Oh,
that's awesome. Yes.
Whoa.
Yes, please.
That is so awesome. They're doing the doll thing again, Jacob.
Yeah. Cinnabar's all alone.
Wow, so they sleep for a whole season.
Yeah.
The place of your failure.
Awesome. Love it.
Nice. Perfect. Oh.
Didn't want anyone to see that. Please, no.
I love how we're sort of just left to assume.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Oh.
Okay. Okay. Oh. It's okay, Phos. Tap into that inner spunk.
Fight all, Phos.
As expected.
What a Phos way to move.
Right. Just Phos is being a snail right now with the agate in mixed
Same
in.
speed, too.
Same speed, yeah.
At least there's a trail.
At least there is a trail. That is true. You did it, Phos. You did it. Where's this? Oh. Oh.
Huh.
Oh. Microorganisms. Why?
Okay.
What the heck? Whoa.
Okay.
I got that. Okay.
Okay. Fighting inanimate objects.
Wow.
Okay.
That whole sequence, we are going to discuss the heck out of that. You'll adjust. Oh. Wait a minute. The voice actor for Antarcticite. I recognize him. Oh, okay. Cool. Whoa! Whoa! Whoa!
Okay.
That was awesome. Ah.
Oh, it's Killua.
Oh, it is Killua. Thank you.
Yeah.
It was killing me. Like.
Yeah.
For good measure. But like you realize they're intentionally making it sound like a person screaming in pain, right?
Uh-huh.
Microorganisms in the sea. Whoa. Whoa, the reflection in the...
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's not a reflection.
Phos booty.
Whoa. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. Whoa. Whoa. Oh.
You're sure about that?
There's an element of truth, it seems like, in what he's saying. Oh. Phos, no, 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 no.
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay, so they do exacerbate the doubts, but they probably also do have some semblance of, will. Oh. Oh, that's freaky. Whoa. Whoa. That's freaky.
Do they know about Cinnabar? Uh-oh.
Crap.
Uh-oh.
Yikes, yikes.
Well,
I freaking called it, though, that there was something like I wanted to say it even earlier, but just the fact that they were screaming, I'm like, no, that's it's like, oh, just ignore the screams. That's just an annoying noise,
right, because the show does so much with just the world that I wouldn't have been too surprised if they had something, and it's like, yeah, this is kind of something that could happen in the real world, and it's crazy, and it's and whatever, and isn't that awesome, But
yeah, it made sense that they would grind against each other and make some kind of a weird pitch, a weird sound.
But
of course, we have to have this as well. And if Phos keeps losing their little parts, here and there, Phos being essentially this eventual amalgam of many different types of, minerals, with different different inclusions and stuff, it just gets even more.
Well, and if Phos loses even more of their memories.
Yep. Okay,
right.
okay. So yeah, we have an interesting development in this world here.
Yeah.
So apparently, for 1/4 of the year, assuming there is a similar kind of seasonal cycle like we have in our world,
They just sleep.
And it's like, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
Hibernation. They only get their energy from sunlight, so there's less sun during the winter.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then they have this job that they give to Antarcticite or Antarcticite, whichever one, who also has a little bit of a loving relationship with Adamant, or desire to love Adamant.
Or at least to receive head pats and hugs.
Yes, exactly. Voiced by Killua.
Yeah.
Which is great. It's like, great voice actor.
We need to have a really cool white-haired character that is super strong. Who should we have voice them?
I have a genius idea.
Oh, yeah.
So, Phos is feeling frustrated, guilty. Yeah, basically just can't sleep.
Right.
Which I was going to go into a theory about how, because of the agate surgery, that there was going to be some, disruption in Phos's ability to have peace and quiet and just sleep.
There could be an aspect of that, though, if it's something where the legs don't require sunlight for energy, Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, although agate, that's still a gemstone, though, so never mind.
But it still came from an Admirabilis's shell, which is...
Right. And it was still a mineral, material that was being used.
Right, so...
But...
Yeah, it's a little bit of a mystery at this point. Mm-hmm. But, that aside, we have this very, very curious world development here. So, ice floes in this world end up collecting the microorganisms in the sea during this time that either rise to the surface or just are there, which brings with it a whole nother set of things, which we've been kind of told, at least for the most part, that the ocean is filled with all kinds of microorganisms.
It almost feels like a Dead Marshes kind of thing, it's like these are the souls of the dead or the damned or whatever, and because they're all particles, they don't really have much individuality, because they're all separated and stuff. But when they all are brought together, they're sort of frozen together. They're different enough that it doesn't take on personality really, and it's also temporary because then the ice melts and then they're dispersed again. So it's just like this thing where they have a chance of...
A slight desire.
Right, a slight desire. And maybe then that they're trying to, prey on any of the gems that would be up at this point to try and latch onto them and basically,
acquire them.
Acquire some form of identity.
Well, here's the kind of, I think, the easy thing there is that if these are just tiny microorganisms, they might not have inclusions. Like, they might be all individually inclusions, or they might be so small that they are
that it's irrelevant.
But inclusions are basically like the closest things we have to the mechanical story device that gives the gems individuality.
Okay, yeah.
And if they harvest them, the ice floes, the sinners, if you will, they could be trying to, become more, just trying to be free in that respect. And I, if anything, completely empathize with the ice floes here because, or the sinners, if you will.
Because what a horrible existence.
What a horrible existence. Now, they might not have all the benefits that would give, I would say, the pain of the existence, except for the fact that they are saying that they're experiencing all this pain and stuff. Now, it might be just a crocodile tears type thing for the purpose of consuming.
Or it could just be that their existence is nothing but pain, so this is the only time that they're able to voice it.
But I like that I kind of want to take Adamant at his word here, because at the very least, they are a threat to the gems. And that is very much represented here with this scene where Phos has lost their arms. Like, both arms gone.
Kind of a problem. Like, Phos already lost a lot of memories. And, Yeah.
And yet, Phos can understand them.
Mm-hmm.
In the same way that Phos understood ventricosis when in the snail jelly form.
Yeah.
Phos can understand
maybe because
the
Phos
sinners
mixed
as well.
with some microorganisms when they
sea.
were because they ended up being grown and put back into the shell, and then they were harvested from the shell and repaired from there.
Right.
So.
Right.
Yeah.
There's the whole thing of where who was it? Aculeatus.
Mm-hmm.
He was making a big deal about saying, well, we could use Phos in a way to like, you know, interact with the Lunarians.
Right. I can't remember exactly what it was that he said, but yeah.
I'll have to go back and double check that. But the big thing is that Phos seems to have this kind of communication type ability. This ability to understand or interpret the telepathic, you know.
Yeah. Okay. Here's a thought.
What's that?
So, there's all the inclusions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, those are inclusions that are harvested in the actual physicality of the gems themselves.
Yes.
So, theoretically, if you were to go down onto a very small level, the tiny little bits would also have inclusions in them. Now,
I don't know how small you could get, though, and still have inclusions.
Well, or have recognizable inclusions. The inclusions would still be there, but what would it actually be? It'd be something that's so small that it, you know, it's like, okay, if you have an amoeba, right? It's, you know, like, it's still a thing, right? It's still alive in a sense, but it's so completely different than, you know, what humans are, right? What?
It's so obvious. Why are they breaking them? Because when they're frozen together, they form a similar type of conjoined identity like the gems have, but it's raw. It's just rough. There's nothing to it. So there's this scream of the pain that they're experiencing from just being lost in the ocean, vast nothingness. And, so when they shatter them, they're basically shattering them like the gems get shattered, and then they lose their cohesive. You're
definitely.
right. You're right. Then,
but the question though is, why does Phos understand them?
Yes.
And the reason for that, I would say, is that there's inclusions in all of the different organisms, Lunarians, you know, Admirabilis, all of them. And basically Phos, by being constantly broken down and reassembled in various different ways and in various different states, Phos adopts some of the inclusions of the other organisms.
That makes sense, yes.
So with the whole thing of being dissolved inside
ventricosis,
and being reassembled and stuff, you know, granted by the other gems, but being, you know, dispersed into the shell and then being reassembled, there's some of the inclusions of ventricosis in Phos.
Right.
Similarly, with the whole thing of the legs. The legs, that's just another example. And and they did show Phos constantly breaking this episode.
Yes.
So like, it's like, I'm just saying, there's a very decent possibility that some of those microorganisms, like, cause what do they perfectly polish and clean each fragment of Phos's like gemness before putting Phos back together? Like,
whoa, wait,
you know,
that's actually a good point. You know what the reason why for the makeup is then? It has nothing to do with actual giving them a look that, you know, seems
just to
more
hide the
human.
fractures?
No, it's to keep the fractures from interacting with other inclusions and making them basically grab too many things. But if you keep breaking over and over again in little micro ways, things can just get in there. Like, why do the inclusions have to be only in the sea and then also be microorganisms? If they're that small, they could be in the air for all you know.
Right, they're almost guaranteed to be in the air.
They're almost guaranteed to be in the air. So if anything, it seems like all the times where they fracture, the really dangerous thing is that you accidentally, when you put them all back together, is you have added in other inclusions over the course of time, and maybe the ones that are really old, the ones that are really old are the ones that, or the old ones that have lots of fractures. Those are the ones that you would find being put into this situation.
And if you have, but a lot of the times the old ones seem to be the hardest ones,
right?
Which would be the ones that would break the least. Therefore, they would be the ones that would, And again, it's that whole thing of the coming of age story with the, the old and the new, right?
Right.
The rigid old, right? That's when it's rigid. That means nothing else is coming in, right? Because it's something that works very well the way it is. But when it's something that's weak, when it's something that breaks easily, right? Then it needs to keep reforming itself, and just as it naturally goes, there will be slight changes.
I love this. I love this. I absolutely love this, because if Phos is then not one that's going to be the strong protagonist, but the connections protagonist.
Right. The strong because of their weakness.
Yes. And not even really not
traditionally strong,
strength,
but basically bringing in a strength that the gems currently do not possess.
Right.
Yeah.
And having it be through communication and connection, I think, is really interesting, because if you're going to have a story where a lot of the exploration of the narrative is via revealing things about the nature of the world around them, you need something that can perceive the world as it truly is. Okay. And because of the way that the gems seem to be just the state they all seem to be in, they seem to be limited in how they can actually communicate and interact with the world.
Sure, there's certainly things that they don't know, and given their ability to lose memories and just of how they are, certain things,
or given that they're immortal,
sure,
and the fact that this is all they know means that they actually have really bad perception view, like a really bad filter. They have a very filtered perception of the world that is not allowing them to see things as they are.
One might say it's tinted.
Yes, because if they did, then they would have memories of it. And I think we can remove a lot of the worry that there's memory manipulation going on in that respect, because you would just have too many things like Phos bleed through. And the fact that Phos hasn't been tampered with in a literal sense after having all these like crazy memory things happen to them.
Not that Phos would remember, but
but we would notice.
Sure,
the one time,
the differences in how Phos acts and stuff.
And specifically the main time where we actually had a moment where Phos lost a lot of memories was because of a freak interaction with Lunarians and Admirabilis. Yes, it was not the gems. It was not Adamant.
Yeah.
Means that on some level, Adamant might have freaked out because of the mention of humans from the, I know that that's important, but I don't know why you know.
Well, right, and the idea of
and there's no way I can know how you know.
Well, and also, if you know about humans after losing a third of your memories, what else did you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly. It's very intriguing. Yeah. It's very intriguing. This episode was rather, I would say, quiet and mellow and slow.
Yeah, just fun. A lot of great visuals. I love Antarcticite. Yeah, I can speak.
Antarcticite. Yeah. I'm gonna do the site one because I believe that's how they pronounced it with the voice.
Okay.
The voice actors.
Antarcticite. But the idea of a liquid gem that then freezes when, like, winter sets in, and then they can do stuff and whatnot. I love it. I also love the color design because there's a simplicity to it that is a lot of fun, but the way they show, because white-haired anime characters, nothing new. But in this case, because they're gems, you can't just have a gem with white hair, right? That doesn't work. And I feel like specifically with the characters that are supposed to have white hair, they have to give the hair way more color and detail than the characters that say just have like red hair or something, right? Because they'll do the different shades for the red-haired characters, but for Antarcticite and Dia, their hair is just so cool to look at. Like it's just awesome and pretty. And snow, like we had a bunch of snow and it was awesome, and Phos was adorable. So yeah, great episode. I loved it.
The kind of the goofy question I have, is what do Antarcticite and Adamant do when no one else is around?
I think it's just the hug.
You think that's it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
just there was a genuine blush on Antarcticite's face.
And I think that was it, is that Phos didn't even clue in that was their tradition, right? Was, starting the winter off with a hug.
Sure.
And is wondering what's this tradition, but Antarcticite is just just flustering and embarrassed.
You want to hear a crazy theory?
What?
Antarcticite is really soft. It's not very hard.
Oh.
And Solo goes out and essentially slaughters potential, new beings trying to form their identity. How many times do you think Antarcticite has potentially kind of had a little bit of a, not a breakdown, but kind of a...
Been influenced potentially by
exactly.
them?
Yeah.
Potentially a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would not be surprised if that was normally something that Adamant and Antarcticite did together. And now, one of the reasons Antarcticite is so pissed is that they have to be with Phos. The one who snails and zigzags through the snow and is constantly complaining about how tired they are. That was
so amazing.
Like,
it would be so annoying to work with someone like Phos.
When you're used to Adamant.
But just to see the just kind of dragging through the ice, just
Phos is
light blue hair, just kind of
for a show about basically a splintered fragment of humanity, they don't have the flesh, they don't have the spirit. Yeah, is that what the Lunarians are?
Bone, flesh, and spirit.
Yeah, bone, flesh, and spirit. Yeah. So without the flesh, without the spirit, and yet Phos has so much personality. Like everything Phos does, it's like Phos really does carry this show, I feel.
Right.
Like the world is fantastic and everything, but it would be so dry without Phos.
I think that's right. Something that's good to bring up, though, we mentioned the whole theory of the inclusions being absorbed into Phos, but Phos didn't showcase the ability of being able to communicate with others, or they didn't seem to even have that be as something that Phos has something special about them that they can they can communicate with other other beings until the full dissolution happened inside of Ventricosis.
Right.
So I am interested to see if this is actually more or less a trait of flesh beings specifically.
Okay.
And it's that because they're of the flesh part, Admirabilis, they can communicate with all kinds of
because they understood the
Lunarians,
it seemed, even though the Lunarians weren't saying anything. It could also be, though, I feel like if they wanted to do something else, though, they could have it be something where it's about the fact that they were in the ocean.
Okay.
And that basically, if you think about in water, right, in liquids, liquids, gas, whatever, the things that are swirling around in there will kind of get homogenized.
Sure.
So if Phos was completely dissolved in Ventricosis and then reassembled into the shell, then through that there would be pretty much every particle that you would find in the ocean, more or less, would be mixed up in Phos somewhere in some small amount.
Wow. That's a cool, sudden ridiculous thing happens and makes the protagonist power of their story just kind of happen, but it evolves and grows into something even crazier over the course of time through other breaks that Phos goes through.
Yeah,
I'm very excited about that because it fits the whole anime transformation powers and stuff. But
especially like through their own demise.
Yes, but also with the whole thing of memory and potentially then if Phos can communicate with the inclusions in others, there's a potential that Phos could eventually learn how to communicate with the inclusions within themselves. So that's something I've been waiting to get brought up, and I feel like that's what Adamant's doing.
Okay, sure. And his meditations and everything.
Yeah, exactly. Because meditation is a internal focus thing. But
unless
I guess
you're going into astral projection stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It could be that as well. But we'll just have to wait and see. So, y'all, thank you so much for watching the end of this episode's discussion and stuff. But if you want to see the next episode's reaction right now, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there, and any level of support gets you access to our Discord, where you can chat with us about stories or just hang out in general and chat about whatever. And if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.